In 1973, four of the world's most skilled divers entered Australia's deadliest cave. Hours later, only one surfaced. What went wrong in those dark, unforgiving depths? Stick around as we uncover a story of courage, chaos, and tragedy. Beneath Missouri's serene countryside lies a hidden world of shadows and secrets, a labyrinth of underwater caves that have claimed more than just daring souls. Among them, one looms larger than the rest, the ominously named Shaft. Since 1973, its dark depths have carried whispers of tragedy, casting a haunting shadow over the cave. Diving community. What unfolded here remains etched in the minds of divers, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are best left undisturbed. For those bold enough to enter the shaft, it's more than an adventure. It's a trial by fire, a harrowing test of courage that has pushed even the most seasoned explorers to their limits. In Australia, where the crystal waters carve stories into rugged coastlines, the ocean was more than a playground for Christine Millett. It was destiny. At 4, as other kids wobbled on bikes, Christine was already diving into a world where the sunlight danced through endless blue. Under her father's watchful eye, every plunge into the water felt like stepping into a realm only they could understand. But in Christine's world, where the sea felt like home, even the deepest love for the ocean. To be 1973, the Millets had conquered what few divers dared to dream of. Their skills weren't just impressive. They were legendary, the kind of expertise that could turn the most perilous dives into master classes of precision. Christine, the crown jewel of the family, was unmatched in New South Wales, while John, the eager cousin, still struggled to keep pace in their shadow yet. Even the most seasoned divers can falter when confronted with the unknown. For the Millets, the shaft would be their reckoning, a place where skill and confidence would collide with forces beyond their control. Imagine this, a tiny hole in the ground, no bigger than a car tire, hiding one of nature's most deceptive secrets. On May 28, 1973, 9 daring divers arrived at Mourning, Gambier's Shaft Sinkhole, unaware of the ultimate test awaiting them. The entrance, a mere 3-foot gap in the earth. But that unassuming hole led to a terrifying secret. Descend a rope ladder, and you'd find yourself suspended above a vast underground lake, waiting 20 feet below. The real terror. The tiny opening led to a water-filled chamber the size of a football field. A lethal paradise. Some depths are better left untouched. The shaft's most striking feature. A 100-foot column of sunlight, cutting through the crystal-clear water like nature's own spotlight. This beam was the diver's lifeline, an underwater North Star. But venture into the dark tunnels, and the guiding light would vanish. Simple rules, yet in the underwater world, even the clearest path can become clouded. Day 1 at the shaft seemed routine. The team dropped a single guideline from the entrance 120 feet down, while one diver stayed above as a surface guardian. But why, with such a vast cave, did they set only one line? And why were they so confident about venturing into the unexplored depths the next day? The guiding beam had led them safely on day 1. But as the sun set, no one knew how crucial that single guideline would become in the next 24 hours. After 20 successful dives, Robert Smith, the club's president, was dangerously comfortable. His plan for day 2 seemed foolproof: stay within 200 feet of the light, where they always felt safe. But in cave diving, familiarity can be fatal. On May 29, 1973, 3 critical oversights in their dive plan would soon unravel in devastating fashion. No official group plan, no buddy system, and worst of all, no one knew Christine intended to exceed their agreed 200-foot depth limit. As night fell, these overlooked details quietly set the stage for one of Australia's worst diving tragedies. The danger. It's not always what you plan for that kills, it's what you fail to plan. That fateful day, Christine, her brother Stephen, cousin John, and Gordon were set to break a record. The Western Tunnel was calling, its dark passage tempting them to push 50 feet past the agreed limit. Their goal, a risky 250-foot depth. The plan, a quick descent, touch the record depth, and ascend. No lingering, no exploring. But here's the unsettling question. Why gamble with such a dangerous dive? armed with only one guideline. And even more concerning, did anyone think twice about John, with just 4 years of experience, diving to a depth even veterans would hesitate at? At 250 feet, records are temporary, mistakes, permanent. In 1973, deep diving technology was still primitive. The team was equipped with basic air tanks, no mixed gases, and no technical protocols. At that depth, nitrogen narcosis would cloud their judgment, impairing their reflexes. But here's the chilling truther: in the dark western tunnel, at 250 feet, there was no clear path to the surface. As the four descended, witnesses above watched in horror. Robert, with all his experience, had to retreat due to narcosis. What chance did the others have at 250 feet? Would they even recognize the danger before it was too late? In the abyss of the shaft, seconds mattered. Glenn reached for Christine, ready to give her the time warning. But in that instant, she surged forward, vanishing into the darkness along with the others. Beyond the reach of light, into the unknown. Glenn wasn't worried. Yet, these were seasoned divers. His sister, a state champion, was with him. It was just a quick look, right? But at these depths, with nitrogen clouding their minds and air running low, how quickly could just a quick look turn into something darker? Time was ticking. Air was running out. And in the eerie depths of the shaft, 4 divers were about to learn the meaning of its terrifying reputation. One by one, they surfaced. Then, silence. The clock had run out. Their identical air supplies were gone. Where were the others? Desperate, they dove back in, past the 200-foot mark, searching for their friends. What they found were 2 chilling clues: Steven's camera and flashlight, abandoned on the cave floor. What had happened in those fatal minutes? And what deadly secret lay beyond the ledge where their friends had vanished? At the edge of the abyss, Christine, a diving prodigy, faced the decision. At 250 feet, their air would deplete 7 times faster. She believed they could reach the record depth and return in minutes. She knew the dangers of nitrogen narcosis, how it clouds judgment. But diving's cruel truth: the deeper you go, the clearer you think you are. As they descended into the shaft's darkness, their air grew thinner with every breath. None of them knew it. Ocean diving didn't prepare them for this. At 200 feet, they made their fatal choice. The tunnel stretched before them. 300 feet of narrowing passage to their target depth of 250 feet. But something far deadlier than narcosis or air depletion awaited. The tunnel's hidden weapon: silt. Years of settled debris clouded their path, dropping visibility to nothing. In the suffocating darkness, they had no sense of direction. No up, no down, no way back. Christine glanced at her A-gauge. Her record-breaking dream shattered. In that moment, survival was their only goal. And in the shaft's tunnel, even turning around was a deadly gamble. Her hands reached out, grasping only cold rock. Was this the wall, the floor, or the ceiling? The guiding beam of light that had always been their faithful compass was now swallowed by a veil of swirling silt. With no light to lead her back to the main chamber, Christine's hope began to fade. What terror must have gripped her as reality hit? Trapped in the pitch-black void, air running low, judgment clouded by narcosis. How could they navigate 300 feet of unrelenting tunnel when every direction felt the same? In their final moments, Christine and Gordon fought to survive. Swimming upward, they searched frantically, their flashlights slicing through the murky water, desperate for a way out. But the shaft had one last cruel twist. A false dome, a rocky ceiling that promised escape, but offered only dead ends. Time was now measured in breaths, not minutes. Their air gauges screamed warnings as Stephen and John, lost in the same dark maze, battled for survival. The uneven rocks above them denied even the simplest path to safety. Panic set in. Each movement stirred more silt, each breath a fragile lifeline. The tiny air bubbles trapped in crevices mocked them, enough to taunt but not save. In those final, suffocating moments, Christine and Gordon's struggle became futile. East, west. Directions no longer mattered. Their frantic efforts only hastened their fate, consuming the last of their precious air. Then came the last breath. Hypoxia took hold, and their bodies drifted to the floor, joining Stephen and John in the shaft's cold embrace. Time blurred. Did they understand then that the dome they'd sought for refuge had become their tomb? John, lost to nitrogen narcosis, swam deeper, away from safety, further into the abyss. Meanwhile, Stephen, ahead of Christine and Gordon, fought to stay alive, inflating his buoyancy vest in a final, desperate bid to reach the surface. But the shaft had already sealed his fate. Caught on jagged rocks, he would never see the light again. 4 divers, 4 attempts at survival, 4 tragic endings. Minutes apart, separated by nothing but swirling silt. What went through their minds as air gauges hit 0? Did John, adrift in his narcotic haze, even realize he was swimming straight into death's arms? After that fateful May Day in 1973, the shaft kept its deadly secret for 11 long months. 4 of Australia's most skilled divers, a state champion, experienced siblings, and their cousin, were claimed by a hole no wider than a car tire. The irony: their ocean diving expertise gave them a dangerous confidence in a place where the rules were entirely different. The Shaft Sinkhole tragedy of 1973 reshaped cave diving forever. What Christine, Stephen, John, and Gordon attempted is now unthinkable without safety measures, certifications, dive plans, buddy systems, extra tanks, and guidelines marking every inch of unexplored territory. Their fatal dive forced the sport to evolve. Today, divers use mixed gas to prevent the nitrogen narcosis that clouded John's judgment as he swam deeper into the darkness. Every protocol, every certification, every guideline carries the echo of that tragic morning when 4 elite ocean divers learned too late that the shaft played by its own rules. The tiny hole in Mount Gambier stands, its beam of light piercing the depths like nature's warning. A reminder that in the underwater world, experience without respect is just another way to die. Some say the shaft's darkest lesson wasn't about diving at all. It was about how confidence can kill as surely as fear.